Hello, everyone, and welcome to Demand Better. I just wanted to check in, see how everyone is doing. Please write in the comments below if you're doing well or if any of the major events in the world right now are affecting you. I'd definitely like to hear about it. Um, I'm currently a little bit too busy to make videos. I'm in school. I'm applying for jobs. I just got COVID, which is, the first time, so that's good. I dodged a bullet up until now, and clearly I haven't been hit by the full extent of the symptoms yet. But I'm glad that I got vaccinated. That's for sure. It's definitely, feels a lot more mild, and I'm guessing that that's probably one of the reasons why. So what's going on in Ukraine? I'm not going to talk too much about any of these topics just because there's literally so much going on in the world and there's a lot of good takes out there. But let me just say, you don't necessarily have to strongly take NATO's side or Putin's side, especially because Putin was the successor to the Russian autocracy that was supported by NATO. NATO preferred him because they saw him as the most sort of anti-communist of the candidates that were available. So, in my opinion, Putin is kind of a NATO-created problem. At the same time, I think that Putin's justifications for invading the Ukraine don't make any sense. I think that they're just opportunistic, and I think it is good to try to put an end to that. The inflation that's going on right now, I think has a lot to do with fuel prices, has a lot to do with oil prices, and it's just going to get worse now that the war between Russia and Ukraine has started. The sanctions are going to prevent Russian oil from hitting the markets, which is going to cause the price to go up, and that's going to cause a lot of other prices to go up down the line. So that's definitely something to look out for, something to prepare for. What else is going on? The trucker convoy that just happened. One thing that I've got to say is that while I support some of the people who were in the convoy movement, I mean, some anti-mandate protests, while I don't agree with them, I think it's not a totally unreasonable thing. However, the reason why we don't typically see protesters getting away with a bunch of crimes in front of cops is because normally the protesters aren't overtly right-wing. And here we saw that the police treated these right-wing protesters with kid gloves, with very, very soft touch, by comparison to the way that the police typically treat the majority left-wing protesters that are out there. Environmental protesters, indigenous protesters, people fighting for disability rights, people fighting for homeless people. There's a bunch of different protests that we've seen over the last few years, and the police they're very comfortable with violence when it comes to those, but they're not comfortable with violence when it comes to right-wing protesters who are actually committing crimes in front of them. See, here's the thing. Real workers' movements aren't supported by billionaires, Americans, and the police. That's almost how you can tell that this truckers' convoy movement was mostly astroturfed, and that there was there's a few probably genuine people in there, but the problem is they're being swept up with a largely fake issue. I'm glad that the Emergency Act is dealt with. I think it was mainly just existing to overcome provincial jurisdiction that is a constitutional issue. I suspect that was the main reason why it was used. And the main reason why it had to be used is because the police literally refused to do their jobs, and the conservative premiers literally refused to do anything to the police. So it wasn't really up to Trudeau to end this. He was kind of forced into ending it by the total inaction of the police and the premiers. And one reason why you can tell that this wasn't really about an anti-mandate protest is that as soon as the mandates were canceled by the conservative premier, Doug Ford, they continued to protest, revealing that that wasn't the reason why they were there. In fact, this is just a reiteration of the exact same protest, which was done on behalf of oil and gas workers called United Re-Roll. So they've tried to do this exact protest where they bring big trucks into the Capitol. They've tried to do this exact protest before, but previously it was always on behalf of the oil and gas industry. And then, of course, Tamara Litch, one of the organizers of this convoy, wears an I love oil and gas t-shirt to her, like, bail hearing or arraignment or whatever. So ultimately, these guys are showing that they are industry plants. They are ultimately, I'm not even sure they care at all about the mandates. I think it might have literally just been an excuse to try to get people out in the streets. So I hope everyone out there is well. I hope that you're staying well in this tough time, and make sure to vote, organize, unionize, and support local leftist movements. Have an excellent day, and good luck.